Hi, so again, this is some times tables practice, and I'm going to show you how to make a fortune teller and how we can use it to practice our times tables. So first of all, you need a square piece of paper and a pen, and then we need to fold each corner into the middle. Then turn it over and we fold each corner into the middle again. And then if you fold it in half and half again, this helps find its shape. So if you put your thumbs inside the pockets that you've now made, and you can see we've got the starts of our fortune teller. We now need to write some times tables on this side where we've got the squares on show, rather than this side where you can see lots of triangles. So if we write some times tables, and then if we flip open the sides for a moment, we then want to write some division facts that correspond to these times tables. So for this one, we could do 28 divided by 4 and 28 divided by 7. For this one, we can do 30 divided by 5 and 30 divided by 6. And here we can do 18 divided by 2 and 18 divided by 9. And finally, we can do this one where we would have 24 divided by 3 and 24 divided by 8. And then on the inside, we need some forfeits. So what I would suggest to do is choose some forfeits where they're having to step count for 30 seconds. So we could ask them to count in threes from 0 for 30 seconds. We could also ask them to step count, but from a point that's not 0. So we could ask them to count in twos from 1 for 30 seconds. We could also ask them to count backwards. So we could ask them to count backwards from a point that is in the times tables that they know. So count back in 4s from 40 for 30 seconds. You could also ask them to count back from a number that isn't part of that times table. So we could ask them to count back in 5s from 57 for 30 seconds. We could also just throw in a slightly different topic as well. So we could ask them to name as many 2D shapes as they can in 30 seconds, or name as many 3D shapes in 30 seconds. We could also ask them to count in steps, but from a midpoint in their times tables. So we could ask them to count in 3s from 15 for 30 seconds. Or we could ask them to count in 4s from 24 for 30 seconds. We would then fold up the fortune teller, and how we would play the game would be, we would ask them which multiplication they would like to do, and if they say chose 5 times 6, we'd ask them what the answer is, and they'd give us 30, and we'd ask them to reach 30 by either step counting in 5s or 6. So if they step counted in 5s, we would then say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and they would get to look inside. We'd then ask them to find the division that goes with the multiplication that they did. So for this one, they would be trying to find 30 divided by 6, and they would tell us that 30 divided by 6 is 5. So we'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they get to choose another division to work out. So if they chose 18 divided by 9, they would work out that 18 divided by 9 equals 2, and we get to look under this flap to see what their forfeit is. And this one says name as many 3D shapes in 30 seconds as they can, and then you'd just see how many they could name. We hope you enjoy your times tables practice. Thank you. Bye.